Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. We're live. Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, glory, yours now, forever. Your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all. Hi, Max. I'll get through. Yes, come on up here. Get your bone. All right, let me see if this works. It does. Okay, we have a lot to talk about. I would love to talk about this, but unfortunately, it's going to have to. I'll get. I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna do another broadcast. Everybody's been asking me to do a broadcast on. I think it's Wednesday. I think I'm going to do a Bible specific reading broadcast on Wednesday. Do you guys like that? At any rate, we have not lost the Republic. If we've lost, they would not be trying to silence us as much as they are, right? Because so yes, everybody, I'm wonderful. I've been grateful and thankful to be back. I've had a fantastic summer. Um, my grandsons are extremely healthy, and that's really all you can ask for. Beautiful wife. Um, I'm saying a lot. I did not. I usually prepare my shows tremendously, but there's just so much to discuss that I I really want to get to the basics. In the 80s, really this work this work started in the 70s. My father was a brilliant man, and I got involved in the beginning of this work because of the fact that number one, I could read schematics. Number two, um, I was blessed by God with a brain. And when I was a kid, 7 years old, I got it into my mind watching a program called Star Trek. I wanted one of those phasers until I realized it did not exist. But I found something that actually did exist. Building a capacitor system that would excite a specific argon gas in a flash tube was, of course, beyond the scope of a 7-year-old. However, people were throwing out radios, TV sets, all kinds of things. And with my red wagon, I proceeded to go around and collect it. And um, our next door neighbors, they had an infant. So Boo Boo, who was my best friend at the time, I he always had um, a scab or something. His real name is Raymond, but that's we called him Boo Boo because he always had one. Anyway, I proceeded to sort out and do this. I was determined to do this. Um, and I looked up Max Planck's law on light, and I realized that this could be done using microwaves. And that's what I proceeded to do. I actually built a Mesa. It's not light. Technically, it's still light, but um, it was based on microwaves. And the old man watched me do it, and it worked for about, I don't know, 35 seconds, maybe 40. And of course, you didn't have, movie cameras and video and stuff like this, and it's just what's in your head. Wait, you want another one, huh? This guy is an alcoholic addict with bones. Anyway, so but I had not done anything about the heat rejection, as it were, in the circuit. Okay, which proceeded to, when I turned this thing on, it worked. It put out a beam. It burned a hole through plywood and everything, and I was excited. Um, and but it also destroyed itself. But I did this when I was 7. So my father was very impressed, to say the least. At any rate, I skip forward. In 1971, my father had a heart failure. He was also working on 3 specific projects for the government. And at the time, um, they had already been exposed to me because of the fact that they used to come in to my father's office, and they already knew who I was. He went blind in 73, literally blind. And what happened was is that these projects were so important that um, they did the full SAP clearance, the whole thing. And what happened was they came in and they, for example, I'll explain to you one specific project. They would come in with a trunk, and they would take my picture and they'd take my father's picture, and they would do the prints and check the prints and everything else. And this was a special room my father had designed and built in the plant. It had um, uh, fabric walls, but they're really a foot thick, and it was screened in copper. Um, yeah, it was a very secure place to say the least. And they would open this trunk and they would take all this stuff out as they were doing it. And then there was like this um my father, believe it or not, he would open the safe. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. And in the safe was this gizmo, and it fit into this, it looked like a ledger, basically. And it had on the right side there were spots that this mechanical thing would go into, and then a specific code that was given by the guys would be verified and be punched in, and this thing would open, and the guy would start a stopwatch, and they would literally stand 6 inches away from the wall and just look at the wall for half an hour. I'm not kidding. It was unbelievable. My father and I used to open up and go through the material. And what we had to do is we had to disseminate the material, but specifically understand what the specifics of the DoD project was, but then at the same time figure out um, some kind of civilian variant that we could tell our people on the floor that they were building, even though it wasn't the truth. It was essentially a lie. Okay, like we were building the maps for the stealth bombers, but we told them we were building McDonald's new uh, entry for the thing, and it went even so far as to we actually made some that were actually employed by McDonald's restaurants. But that's not what we were doing. Okay, so forward further, my father is sicker. Okay, and then higher ups bring me into specific projects that were using a specific guidance system that my father actually designed. The guidance system was based on light. Um, I remember the day that my father got the idea. We were in the backyard and I was throwing a baseball, and I think I was about 8 or 9. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, Dad, so I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. So if we're in a plane and what you're saying is I'm in a plane and I throw you the baseball, but if the plane starts turning, it's going to hit in a different place." He says, "That's right. It's not going to be in place." And I said, "Well, what would be the difference in light, and why wouldn't that be used like with a mirror or something?" The next thing I knew, I threw the ball and it knocked out my neighbor's stockade fence thing. He was gone. He went to Gould literally, and that's how he invented the laser guidance. It has no gyros, has no moving parts. It just uses a laser or lasers, and what they do is they detect the motion through these reflectors. It's a brilliant thing. It's only about the size of a softball. And probably top secret to this day, but it was printed out, and I saw an article of it in Aviation Weekly back in, I don't know, I think it was 94, 95. At any rate, it doesn't have any of the problems of gyroscopic precession or anything like that. It's just a purely INS system that's based on light. So, um, when it came down to the L1 through 5 project, and that was part of and that was in the beginning. That was I wasn't brought into it until 73, 74. Um, that was based on first chemicals, and what that was all about was to basically figure out a way to, you know, people call them Delta Echo Victors and Delta Echo whiskeys and whatever. Um, it wasn't for that. It was for trying to um, destroy a nuclear missile from killing 6 million people. That's, that's what this whole thing was all about. And of course, uh, the original system was designed by I forget his name. Um, it was it was German something. Anyway, it was based on chemicals, and basically, it only had a firing time. That was it, one time. Okay, and it literally self-destructed when you shot it. Okay, so um, I was um, at the time I was talking with another person. Actually, I can't say their name, but I was very interesting in different types of atomic instances when there's a certain amount of energy that's specifically generated, and you get specific um, fusion reaction, but in the reverse of it. So um, the nuclear then can actually create um, essentially a laser event. Okay, um, and because of the way lasers work, you can um, picture a swing, a person in a swing, and if you push the person at the right time, okay, you can get them higher and higher just by pushing them at the same time, higher and higher and higher. That's called pumping. So there was a way to design a nuclear event source that could be whatever the half life is of. I can't discuss that material. Long time. Puts out power, but not the kind of power that you need. But it doesn't have to be the power that you need because it's all the time. And the thing about light is that if you put it through specific lenses and things, you can not only pump it, you can change both the um, amplitude, but also it can transform the frequency. So you can end up with something that's totally different, a lot more power. At the same time, you can go the other way, which is kind of what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to take something of high energy and split it, creating entangled photons. And the entangled photons are joined literally at the hip to each other. And it doesn't matter where they are and where they're going to be, they're the same. Okay. I digress. This technology, you could probably figure out it's based on something. I won't tell you what that is. You can, if you were part of my Patreon thing, I went into a lot more detail. I came up with a elegant solution. On my shoulder, I know that God was trying to tell me not to do it, and I didn't have the protection of my father. He had already died in '78. I I didn't design it for that. I swear to God, I did. I was trying to save lives. Anyway, 5 of them. If it wasn't for Jack being there, who had Reagan's ear. It was all I couldn't talk about it. I still can't really technically. When I tell you the story that when I died, and I didn't see hell, I saw the way to it below me, and billions of people and things and creatures falling into the abyss. And at that moment, I thought that I'd be there. And God, He said to me, "You were forgiven because you forgave, even though you haven't forgiven yourself." And I have active debates with people who think I should forgive myself. After all, I was 17 and 18 at the time. Wanted that pat on the back. But the day I do that, I remember that God has given me this grace and put my mind back together. And I will never forgive myself because I will never use my talent and my God given abilities for that abuse to happen again. And that's a promise that I made to him. So when you see things in Hawaii that are blue that have somehow been not affected, and you see aluminum and other things, and the children, energy is so powerful that it specifically causes a plasma to develop within the ionization of the air. That's why, if you look and you'll specifically see that specific homes and other things were left out of the equation. I recognize this. Somebody said paradise, and unfortunately, I kind of had the same breakdown then. Oh, believe me, dear, for years I didn't do, I was trying to do anything that, of anything that could not be abused. That's why I developed the SA3 process. I figured, well, how bad can reintegration of sound and video or things like this? But again, Protein Database used my technology to um, on the Human Genome Project. So the thing is, you just can't let things out. It's but the truth is, you know, now all the stuff is solid state, and my son in his first year at the academy designed the capacitors that they're using on ships and on the MRLs and whatever for all their stuff. Again, he was, you know, if you guys ever read my CW, then you would understand who you're talking to. So I understand evil all too well. At any rate, is there any question? My thoughts on Elon Musk. I wish I could get to him. I would just need 15 minutes. He would realize who I am, and then he would understand. And I think that he's on the precipice of being good. and I think he really wants to be good, and I think that he can be good. And in his position, I think he can do some real good. If, like I said in the title of this thing, if we lost, I wouldn't have been in the doghouse all summer. This channel has only told you the truth. Join his channel. He's got. I don't know if he has a YouTube channel. At any rate, it's very. I've tried many times to get to him. I have. I have a plan. I have a plan on how to um, defend this planet from extinction from the sun. I have a plan how to deal with a lot of things. Deal with everything from Yellowstone, which is really um, another person's plan, but I agree with it, to Fukushima, to everything, energy. You know, you guys want to know about energy? Okay, I'm going to tell you. You could think about how many watts this is. How many watts does it take to move the entire Gulf of Maine? How much water that is, okay? Up and down twice a day, every day, every day. Every day the tide goes out, and I mean it goes out. When the tide goes out, they have people who go out on it every day with buckets and do clamming and everything else. And then when the tide comes in, there's literally a 4-foot wave of water coming in every day. When you were a kid, I don't know if you kid like me, but I used to always watch my um, um, great uncles, grandfathers, you name it. They used to always wind the clock. The big grandfather clock they used to call it, and it had weights. And every day they lifted up these weights and this key, and then gravity would pull these weights down, and that's what kept the clock running. That's where the energy was. Every day they have a 10 to 12-foot tide every day. In Huntington Bay in New York, 200 years ago. 20, yeah, even for 400 years ago. 400 years ago, they set up what's called the mill pond, and they used to grind wheat and saw things and whatever. Guess what they were using to power it? A tide pool. The tide would come in, fill up this pool that they constructed, and then the tide would go out, and then they would let the water run through this big wheel. It's still there. You can look it up on Google Maps. And this wheel would run a mill, and this mill would grind their flour, cut their wood, tidal power. Oh, it's green. It's also extremely cheap. You build the structure once, and it just keeps on going. Okay, Moon's gonna keep doing this. Just saying. And as they say, tide rises all boats. So you could have barges lifting up mechanically. Like you could leverage this, or you could even put turbines underneath on the ocean floor, catching the current come in, the current going out. All kinds of ways mechanical engineers can devise all kinds of, including non-physical systems, such as just a pipe where the water's coming up and it's applying pressure. And there's so many ways to harness this. Okay. Why are they spending billions of dollars on these ugly, expensive, they're going to break down windmills on the eastern seaboard of the United States? Why? Money. 37 cents a kilowatt. Yeah. Keep the price up. Yeah. Money. It's greed. Yeah. Build China. Yeah. They don't want cheap power. They don't want green power. They want green power. That's what they want. Okay. Do they want room temperature superconductivity? I mean, under Trump, he greenlighted a bunch of projects that were this close in two universities from coming up with room temperature superconductivity. I mean, close. First day, Biden signed it. Cancel it. Cancel it. Cancel it. What did he just do? He just canceled the oil up in Alaska. Just did it. So now your oil is nine. If Russia's thinking about thinking, who else is thinking? Oh, China's thinking. Who else? Iran. Iran said. Oh, Iran. Yeah, Iran. And then you got the neocons like who so-called is winning polls now. Oh yeah, she's gonna be Biden and she's gonna be Trump and oh yeah. Uh, and the V person is a Soros plant who Trump fell for because he says, "Oh, he's a brilliant person." Doesn't do the video work and or the homework to look back 13 years and see what's going on. Okay, just like he blames all these other attorneys for his problems, he picked them. Okay, he picked them. They were his choices. I'm not saying what they did was right. I'm not saying that. I'm saying all that people have to say to him is, "You're a great guy, you're smart, and you're brilliant," and boom, they're in the door. That's the problem. Okay. People can say to me that I'm great looking, thin, and fantastic. Yeah. Um, Other people say that I'm brilliant, smart, whatever. Yeah, no. I'm terrible with people. I'm a terrible choice of people. The only thing that excites me about a person is their intellect. And I know that from talking with them for about 5 minutes. And then from I don't believe anything. And the resume, here's the resume. Yeah, what? No, 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 that's I had a guy. I was working on a project. It's called Bankmont Inn. So First United Fund, and this guy he had a PhD computer sciences from MIT. Okay, I'm like, okay, so you're gonna help me on this? Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's why he hired me. They didn't hire me with my approval. They just looked at his credentials, whatever. The guy didn't even know what a TTL was. A TTL. I gave him my wife's card. And I said to him, I said, go back and sue MIT and ask them for your money back because that is the fundamental, the absolute fundamental everything of how a computer works. Three transistors make up a bit, basically. Okay. And if you don't know that, you're worthless. There's no way you're going to be able to write machine code. There's no way you're going to be able to understand what a front end is, the device, nothing. Okay. You're a user. You're just a user. Well, we're never going to do that. if people give in to evil. Now, they're trying, they're trying desperately to give in to evil. They're trying, if you listen to the news, they all talking. I'm answering this letter. Um, uh, Teresa K. It's not. Look, it's not that I'm not for Trump. That's not it. I am not for a person who doesn't admit their mistakes. I'm not for a person who can't correct for their mistakes. I'm not for a person who doesn't. So is he the best person on that stage? No. I saw one person. You guys don't like him. That's fine, but I know his history. My son has served with people who know him personally. Okay, so in that respect, I'm always going to be more partial to a veteran. Why? Because I know you didn't get the bronze medal and a box of Cracker Jacks. Okay, it's not handed out like that. Okay, the thing I'm really worried about it, is that Trump is beatable. I'm going to tell you why he's beatable. He invokes, and this is because of the way the media is and the way he is. And what happens is he invokes TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. There are people in both parties that hate him. That's the problem. The election system has not been addressed. Instead, 15.7 million more people have been spread around the country. You can check this fact, okay, in swing specific states. And all of a sudden now there's a new thing for masking up, for a new Charlie, Oscar, Romeo, Victor, Indiana, Delta that's coming out. You see the headlines. Despite the fact that if you want to get rose hub seeds out of your rose hubs and whatever, you have to strain them, right? What do you have to? You have to strain them. You cannot use a strainer with bigger holes than the seeds, because if you try that, you'll have seeds in your jam. You don't want seeds in your jam because these seeds are like little pieces of gravel. You see the, yeah, because, right? But you guys understand what I'm talking about, okay? See, how did you know I had more bones? You know I had more bones. You knew I had more bones. You love me. Anyway, um, so yes, so you have to have something smaller. Okay. So if you're trying to prevent something that is 305 nanometers, something that is can't even stop an 80 micron, that's 305 billionths of a meter to 80 thousandths of a meter. Well, millions. Doesn't matter. Billions, millions. Point is, can't even stop hay fever. So how can it help? Can't. Can't. There was a there was a meme the other day, and it was showing that um, the Delta Echo Mike Sierra, who were wearing the masks on their head, the ears, and external diapers. They were told it's going to help against all kinds of things, including, it's just very funny. But if I showed it, boom, I'll be in the doghouse again for another. Uh, Very funny though. Yeah. So you're gonna see all that again, and you're gonna have the mail-in ballots, and you're gonna have the harvesting, and nothing has changed. If anything, like I said, and who do you think they're going to? That's 15 million votes, guys. How are we gonna overtake that? Okay. There's only one way that's going to be overtaken, and that's if you take the hate out of the equation. I'm not saying anything about the man, great president, did it, but he should have followed through with a better selection of people and realized that he was doing something wrong within this. I said all the way back then, should have had John come down with him. He would have been the AG. It would have been all done. He didn't want to share the spotlight. I can guarantee it. Because you see, back then they were like, "How did this happen?" Well, all of a sudden with that, and they would say, "Oh, that's what made it happen." All right, last one. Take it to your bed. So enough on that. Yes, he is well. He's um, getting monsooned on for money and standings. He finally had a specific hernia operation that household the guys get, and he's recovering from that. It's not life threatening things. At any rate, my son has ended his 17 and a half year career officially with the Navy. His vacation ran out sometime this summer, May. I had signed him in 2006. He was only 16 at the time. He has a very good job as a test pilot for the FAA now, and he's going all over the country. I think right now he's actually in Orlando. So, yep. Oh, there's no question, Teresa. Teresa Hurst. I'm sorry, guys. I had to put a 60 second thing on this. Teresa Hurst. God is in control. Ultimately, God will. Uh, this is a test, and we all fail, and that's why, in His unbelievable grace and love, He has forgiven me, and He has graciously restored me, and He's graciously sent me back here to tell you about that. And He has graciously blessed my family. My I I have no words for the amount of love that I felt from God. That I realized that everything in my life, that His love is the source, and that He put us here to learn and to grow, learn from your mistakes, admit your mistakes, don't make those mistakes again. Realize that Jesus, His Son, is the only way to Him, and that we all fall short. We will never be like Jesus, but Jesus and the gospel has told us to keep trying. He wants us to keep trying, to push and I push that donut away. Push that Boston cream donut away, and I have pushed that. I haven't had a Boston cream donut now in almost a year. I wish I was a biologist and I could invent something to go into my stomach and open it up and just so I could eat anything, right? That's uh my thing. You know, I love to, and I have not been overeating. I Up in Vermont, my favorite restaurant. I had not had a dessert there. Um, I I ate really great and walked around a lot, and so I'm feeling good, and physical therapy and everything else. But I still have 125 pounds to lose. Have I lost weight? Yeah, yeah, great. Yeah, I think 8 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever. I can't sneeze it away, whatever. I get that, but it's hard. It's really, really, really hard to do. It's hard to lose weight. Um, so that's and I don't drink at all. I mean, I don't. I don't have I can't. I can't afford to carry. I can't. So no, I won't even have. I didn't even have a glass of wine. Um, yeah, I haven't had a pizza all summer. Oh, I love pizza. Well, maybe I'll do it. I'm looking. I look. Look. This is there's two reasons why I do it. That's one reason. Okay, my beautiful wife, and there's the other. Okay? My grandkids. So I have to be strong. It's important. Physically much much stronger, and yeah. Well, that's because of his brother. His brother was an alcoholic who died. He looked up to his brother. That's probably why he didn't let John come out. He didn't want to be responsible. Um, he looked at John as a younger brother who's trying to be the older. You know, Look, I'm not trying to shoot at Trump, whatever. I'm trying to tell you that in order for somebody to grow, because I used to be the worst arrogant bastard person, obnoxious. I actually would run out of superlatives. If you look at the Disney making of Tron, the original, okay, there's footage of me with long hair and a undershirt with a flannel shirt, thin. I was thin. I mean, like my wedding picture thin. Anyway, and I'm putting these five crays together, these crayon peas to make a cray cell five for doing the Tron stuff, and I'm doing it all by hand. I'm hand wrapping, wire wrapping the connections on the bus on this thing. I'm using the same color wire because I have it in my head. Okay, Now these mainframes, they cost like 2.5 at the time. I'm not kidding. $2.5 million a piece. Okay. And they're trying to document this whole thing. And this guy is bothering me and he's asking now if I make a mistake, what just one wire, okay, and thousands and thousands of wires I had to do, but just one wire. If it's wrong, okay. So you kind of, you, it's it's kind of like Mick and the Stones and these other the more, yeah, man. I mean, I worked with the I know the Stones and stuff. Keith, extremely nice guy, down to earth. Mick, no, but probably one of the smartest rock people I've ever met in my life. And I mean, okay, like genius. Okay. And probably one of the most, and you could, I would say top dozen entertainers in the world ever, like, Frank Sinatra, Sammy. I mean, just you can't take your eyes off of him. He is just amazing. Okay, with that, but arrogant. But I think a lot of that is how do you walk out in front of 1.5 million people and perform and not be self-conscious and worry about whatever unless you have that kind of shield. I myself, I used to tremendously suffer when I played in a group from stage fright. I did not know what was. I was the lead singer and guitar. I did not know in the first 30 seconds what was going to come out of my throat. Um, and it didn't get better; it got worse. And that's just, and you can't see them. You can't see the people. Like where the lights are, you can't. They're there, and you're doing good when you can't hear them because then they're looking at you. If you're in a bar and place like this, you're doing bad when you can hear them. Did you block me? No, I, wa- I, wa- I don't see any of my moderators, so I don't know. I'm busy doing this. So I I have been blocked. I've been I've been blocked. If you're part of my patrons, I sent you the YouTube things. And I appealed it and everything else. No, this is this is a non this channel's been non monetized for 3 years. So I don't have anything else. You just got up to stuff with my love. That's it. That's all I got. Um, so the answer to your question, Jim F. No. Like I said, I've been blocked. I'm not saying that one of my other. I don't see any moderators. I don't see. You know. I I've been in the doghouse. That's the other thing on Facebook. I I I don't post anything anymore because I want to see my grandson's pictures and stuff like that. So I don't even use it. I basically my wife goes into it, but I don't do any of the. Uh, so right, Max. Yeah, I did, guys. You have to understand. There's AIs now, big ones, and they are working. Watch what you're saying, and they work on the comments too. They work on what you say. So then use Pig Latin, use phonetics, use all kinds of things. Every yes, there's every yes. All Matter has a specific energy. Um, all matter, equals mc squared. That's really true. And you can transform it into different things with specific energy of a specific resonance if you understand what you're aiming it at. There's a reason why I'm wearing this shirt. Now just picture this shirt approximately this shirt is some favorite color of somebody, but doesn't just figure this color and 632. If you are on my Patreon, thank you very much. You know all about this because I kind of wrote in great detail about it. Okay? I didn't break my oath. Everything that was in there was um, released at different times through Aviation Weekly and whatnot. Those L1 through L through 5, they I was the only one who could get them to work. I can explain it. I'm a real lunatic, a legitimate. Um, Everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be, and it's different for it's different. So I could see it in my head, and it's kind of like saying, you know, somebody plays like Eddie Van. Yeah, no. Okay, I've seen Eddie live. I was a roadie for Van Halen in Daytona, and there's things that he does or he did. His son has a certain amount of it. Um, that is it's a total feel thing. It comes from you know 100,000 hours of practice. It's kind of like asking somebody and you watch them play the Tchaikovsky's violin concerto in D, and you know they not only you're talking about somebody who started playing when they were maybe 4 or 5, but just for that piece, they probably spent a year and 2 months, literally 10,000 hours, just for that piece, that one concerto, just the one. When I'm talking about Vivaldi, just the one, thing, that's probably one of the most famous Vienna, violin concertos. It's magnificent. Uh, Highly recommend it. So yes, um, all matter can be constructed. Probably what God did. He designed it. It can be all made from light. Um, it could all be broken down into light. So yes, to your question, Janine. You remember, guys, my family goes back to 1631. You ever hear Ball Aerospace, Ball Industries, Ball Canning? When I say to you, I'm a published scientist, I'm not. I'm a published scientist. Not bragging about it. I'm just saying there's facts. There's, believe me, there's a heck of a there's an infinity out there I do not know, and there is stuff that I do know. Okay, I know this. You see this? I know this is silver. I know how to explain to you how this is silver. I know that how to explain to you that and test that it is specifically silver. I know about the Constitution. I know that every single place, like Chaz, for example, that was an insurrection. That was literally an insurrection. Okay. The laws of the Constitution were suspended in that specific area. One of the things it won't tell you there is that rapes were 1 out of 10 in that specific region. And that was underneath Trump. And Trump should have sent the National Guard in there to retake that area because that was an insurrection. That is by definition an insurrection. A protest and redress of whatever is not an insurrection. Everybody has the right to say whatever. That's in the Constitution. You don't have the right to yell fire in a theater, right? You don't have the right to cause people to run and panic. Essentially, that radio show, War of the Worlds, was like yelling fire in a theater. Because when people actually killed themselves and jumped out of buildings because they heard it on the radio and they thought it was real. They didn't tune into and prior to that, anytime that they rebroadcast Water Worlds, they always, every single time they went to commercial or anything else, they put on on the screen if you're watching it, whatever. This is not real. This is an act. This is whatever. They they do it with all kinds of things like that because they don't want to be doing a fire in a theater kind of thing. So when I tell you facts, they are although these things are facts. Okay, they're facts in this specific reality. Okay, they're in this domain. This simulation has been created for us. I am just as much a part of this as you are. Everything is 99.99997 nothing. Okay. This is just as much nothing as this is. But the electron cloud that forms this, okay, is what I'm pushing on. It's what I'm feeling. Okay. But basically, if you looked at a hydrogen atom and you say that the center of the hydrogen atom, the proton, we won't even get to the things that's just, we'll say that proton and the electron. Well, if you put the proton in at the Statue of Liberty, and then the electron would be circling this whole area from Boston to the what's in between? Nothing. Emptiness. And I mean even more emptiness than there actually is in space. Okay. That's why that's how this all works. The thing that's so unique about it is the information. The information is coded specifically in our DNA. You want proof of God? It's there. How do you come up with a just look at the mitochondria in a cell? How do you form proteins to make specific engines, molecular nano engines? And there is genetic code that makes these engines. They have to all function, and they are separate systems. They are separate. They're not the same. What I mean by that? What am I talking about? Which means different technologies are employed. Okay, so and for example, um, a specific worm gear is a specific type of technology, right? A specific lever is a specific type of worm gear. Okay, these types, if look up the mitochondria in a cell, and you'll see there are specific types of engines, and they all have to be in place. If any one of them isn't, the whole cold Darwin thing doesn't work. Evolution does not work because it has to come from the top down because the whole system breaks down. It doesn't work. The system, it's like I explained to you. Look at it as an outboard motor. Okay, so you have an outboard motor to an engine. So you have the motor on top, you have a shaft, then you have a gear, and you have a propeller. Well, the motor is one system, right? It's the motor. The shaft is a transferring of that rotary motion. That's another system. We can put together the gear and is another one, and the propeller. If you don't have a propeller, the motor doesn't work. If you don't have the shaft, the transmission of the power from the engine doesn't work. If you don't have the engine, this it doesn't work. You cannot evolve those things separately because there's no need for them separately. Only together do you have a full system. That's proof of God. Okay. Absolute proof of a divine creator with intelligence. And this whole thing has been created that way. Do these things adapt and improve? Sure, they've come up with a recently MIT developed a propeller that's 104% efficient. It's true. It's going to change everything. It's going to change shipping. It's going to change propeller planes. It's going to change uh, s- boating. Period. People in their outboats are using them. It's brilliant. Okay, and believe me, I'm looking for my boat to put that kind of a propeller on. Yeah, very expensive, but it'll come down in cost. So, do these improvements happen? Like a mousetrap, these improvements happen, okay, over time. You call it natural selection. Um, but it only happens to a specific extent. The essence of the spark of life, the essence of the stuff of entropy does not allow the whole thing to begin from nothing. It's not possible. Entropy specifically from nature specifically does not want that plant to be. It does not want that plant to be organized, doing work, storing energy, separating elements, and creating molecules from nothing. It does not want that. So, I'm sorry about that. I had no idea it was going to be that bad. And normally I don't put that feature on there. It was recommended to me by the channel. Um, I didn't know. I have no moderators on this thing, none. So that means I have to. And again, they so I look to what's going on with the military, and I look to all you have to ask yourself is this: okay, freedom. That's it. That's all you have to ask. Freedom. and think about who is and why are they getting out. You would think somebody would want to stay in for 21 years to get a full pension, but things are made untenable. Are there any other questions? I will tell you what's going on here on Long Island. Every single classroom is overflowing with children. Um, I was woken up to, again, barking by my dog at 3:30 in the morning. Often I hear gunshots. I know exactly what they sound like. I've seen many a 7-Eleven store close. I've seen stores that have been open for, I don't know, as long as I can remember, close. The mall has been taken over by Stony Brook Medical, literally. Um, there's a few shops in there, but mostly it's all medical. Matter of fact, most of the businesses here on out have either transformed into um, Stony Brook or Long Island Jewish or Catholic, some kind of medical something. That's it. The mom and pop retail anything has been obliterated. Uh, Power is getting worse, expensive, and it's just like I tell you this. Um, all I saw, all I saw, everywhere, including on the island, except by Stony Brook, was signs for Lee Zeldin. Everywhere, everywhere, upstate, on the island, you name it, Zeldin signs everywhere. If I saw five H signs, that was a lot. Yet she won by 800,000 votes. Isn't that interesting? Even AOC was making fun of her own constituents at a meeting, chanting, not giving a you know what, like she knew her election was in the bag. Because what happens? Well, with all those people, and no, it wasn't the Governor Abbott. No, the most of them have been arriving here on buses that are paid by the federal. They come here, they get $15,000. They get a phone, they get a room and board, they get a driver's license. Yeah. So many other people have left New York for this reason. I love Long Island, New York. My family has been here since 1631. I have my boat on the East End of the North Fork. I have my other house up in Vermont. Takes me 4.5 hours to get to it. I like I have not, I confess I have not been to the city. Um, but my wife and I used to go. We used to go to the city on a fairly regular basis. We used to see things, shows, restaurants. I could, of course, always at every city tell you what the best restaurants were. It's, yeah. So, no. The last time I was in the city, it was a horror show. I had a meeting with some people about a project. Um, and it was just awful. Absolutely awful. At Penn Station, I saw a guy just lift up his gown and take a dump right in front of a cop. And the cop did nothing. If I did that, I would have been hauled off to jail. I know it. But that's because I was wearing a suit. And it's gotten worse. So it's dangerous. Next week there will not be a show because I'm going to be. I might put some. Probably post a video, but I'm going down to Florida, and so I won't be back until really um, next the weekend after next. I hope that the storm Lee does not decide to come up here when I'm gone. That would be bad because my whole house generator is on its last legs. I have to nurse it every single time just to get it to start. No, I haven't picked up the other one yet. Are there any other questions before I call it a day? I don't see any of my regulars on here. I see some people. I should not say. I'm very thankful you guys are here. I am thankful for the likes. I'm thankful for your subscriptions. I really wish that God would bless you all and that you would really understand that. Like I said, I'll answer any questions you want. Um, but I remember, I am not going to tell you a lie. I might have to tell you in pig Latin or phonetically or something, but I am not going to do what the others do. I will not. I will not disgrace our Lord. I will not go along with the agenda. I will not do it. I do not believe in sanctuary. That to me is a violation of the Constitution. That's a violation of the Constitution. If you don't like laws, then guess what? That's what the state legislature, that's what the Congress is for. That's what, but laws that have been approved by the Congress, been signed into law, and signed and put on the books by the president of the United States, or whoever president is. Could have been President Clinton. There are plenty of laws that I don't agree with. But to just say that we're going to do this because, well, we don't agree with it, it doesn't work that way. Not in a democratic republic. In a constitutional republic, it doesn't work that way. It works the way you have the rule of law. Okay. And that rule has to be applied to with everybody. Okay. And it's not. You can see the time running out. And I ask you if Don Jr. was like Hunter Biden, would this have been gone this way? Would the media have let it go this way? No, Grace Girl, no, because the Senate will never let it happen. And what like I said, and oh, by the way, it's not gonna be Biden, folks. This whole thing is a ruse. Okay, it's gonna be the California governor, and the other person will be oh, it'll be a female, probably Whitney or somebody. But they'll be in lockstep, and the Democrats, Democrat, and you got to use, and he in a debate, he'll lie. He's a slick Willie. He lie. Doesn't matter. Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. He'll just lie, but it will not be Biden. It won't be Harris. If something will happen, fall. This impeachment or whatever will take note. Oh yeah, look what's happening on CNN. Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. So the governor of California will be the Democratic ticket. Oh, not Robert F. Oh no, can't have that. He's speaking the truth. Oh, he's in that case. He's not. He's in that. Yeah, if Trump was going to do something that was going to be right, ready, he'd call up Robert F. and say, "Hey, you want to be on my ticket as VP?" That's what he should do. Hey, that'll shake things up. That's the only way he's going to win. It's the only way. But then I'll have all these. Look at Robert and see what he's been saying, folks. Yeah. Meanwhile, a Democrat today is essentially a Marxist communist. They've been NLP'd into that belief. Okay. And what they want is ultimately control. And what they want is they don't want you to own anything. And think about what they've done by attrition. You can't, nobody buys a car anymore. They lease it. Can't buy a house. The mortgage rates are 8%, the down payment. See what I'm saying? But you can't. We're building these super cities. He'll be able. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no, you can't buy. No, you rent. They buy. No, you can't buy. They're already doing it in Florida. They're buying these lots and they're building these houses. You can't buy the houses. You can rent the houses. Same thing with computers. Computers are so expensive. Most people are now, well, at the plan. What's the plan? Oh, you pay every month. Yeah, like the phones. Oh, we don't. I don't. I pay every month. I don't. I don't know. The phone company sent me a new one. I pay every month. They do it with software, Adobe, Microsoft Office, every month. You can, get them on. I'm out. They don't want you to own anything. They want their annuity every month. Oh, there's no ifs, ands, or buts on that one. And then look at the Foxtrot Bravo Indiana. The head enforcement of the criminal institutions. Look what they're doing. Have you seen all these wonderful hacks that have been going on? Hacking into Chase Manhattan, the Wells Fargo, Sloan Kettering, Stony Brook, yeah, Citibank. Oh, you didn't hear about these? Oh, no, yeah. Yeah. What's the FBI doing about it? I used to complain to the FBI from my wife's office. I said, these people. Well, tell us if you have $150,000 loss. You're going to tell me Wells Fargo didn't have 150 or Bank of America? There were people walking in that had no money in their accounts, folks. Not like a few people, a lot of people. You didn't hear about this? You didn't hear about all these people? Oh, you watched the news, right? Gee, it wasn't on the news. Why wasn't it on the news? Oh, what's on the news? The hurricane. Right. This hurricane, by the way, this Lee one is still not as strong as the hurricane in 1938. Do you want to know how many people died in that hurricane in 1938? Oh no, 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 not five. No, no, 500. No, no, no. It was tens of thousands of people who died, but that was in 1938. Again, Teresa, that's a yes. I'm not going to say that, right? That's why I was talking about what the military just banned. They banned it. Okay. That means that our people in the military cannot watch it. Why were they not able to watch it when they have? Oh, they said it was partisan because it was religious and everything. Gee, I don't know about you, but you should take a look at some of like the new Navy recruiting thing and the kind of flag that they're showing and multiple colors and things like this. And that's not a political agenda. And I promise I won't put the slow on next time. I thought that there might have been a troll to oh no, I kn Teresa, I know that because, again, I have a few contacts. But yeah, and just think how they're going to meet their goals with their new recruiting techniques because every person wants to have that kind of interaction in the locker room, in the little boys' room, in the girls' room. Oh, they only spent what, $4.1 billion taking our missile boats and making them, two sexes. I don't know what they're going to do now. I mean, again, I put asterisks on this. I don't know. But last official my wife's office got was 81 official sexes, genders. Again, I don't know. I'm prefacing. I don't know. I don't know. I, but it was 81 last time. I don't know what it is now. I don't know. So I'm not. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I know things that are what they are, right? I know that there's 23 chromosomes. I know that one of those basically determines whether you're going to have specific features, whether you're going to have feature of a male child and be able to um, be a male or a woman and be able to bring a new life, new souls on this planet. Okay. So, if anything, you ready for this? I'm going to say this. All these things are a tremendous disgrace, a tremendous insult, in my opinion, to women. It's essentially a rape of women, as far as I'm concerned, because women do not deserve that. Women, we would not be here if it wasn't for women. Women are that's why they say women and children first. That's why men sacrifice, they used to sacrifice themselves to protect women and children because the future is women. And all of us had mothers. That's what I'm going to say about that. Is there anything else before I terminate this broadcast? I want to tell you that it's very good to be back. I look to be doing more shows um, and being more active on things and taking you with me. So, Therese, I agree. We call this mm, yeah. Bellevue comes to mind. If you want, you can look that up. There's a big hospital in the city. A very big section of it is for moon people. Yeah. So I am a person who um, believes in a specific realities and believes that God is perfect and God does not make mistakes. And God has put down a specific law, Romans, Leviticus, to, to put a few. And vengeance is his. God will not be mocked, period. Um, these people um, are now flagrantly and in all aspects of the e world doing this. Um, it's scary. It's I read. I'll read. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath the earth. You shall not bow down to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing mercy to thousands, to those who love me and keep my commandments. Oh, I could read the rest of it, but did you hear what it said there? When they make all these imageries that you see on these award shows and these other things and videos, showing things, dressing up like things, it's expressly forbidden. In his own hand, by the way, people. So, and I'm not afraid of God. That's a type of preaching that I don't believe in. I also don't believe in the prosperity preaching. The God that I know is love, but that love has limits as far as he will not be mocked. And what you're seeing is open. It's I and I what I saw, and again, that wasn't even HE double toothpicks. That was just on the way to the abyss, and it was beyond horrible. And no, thank God, I did not see dogs and other animals and whatnot, and his creature. I saw things, but I don't know what those things were. It made aliens look like a B movie, but I did not see horses and giraffes or elephants and things like that. I saw billions of people though. Yep, and they were all. And there were only 39 on that light beam with me that I could see as far as I could see. And we were pretty far apart. The closest person to my left was about 35, 40 feet, and about the same to my right, maybe 60. But we were mainly looking at what we saw. I'm sure if they went up all the way that they would not remember. My father had no recollection of the trip. I've, I could feel them waiting. I could just imagine how spectacular it is, and it would just wash. But that's not what God wanted. He wanted me. He told me. He said, wanted me to give my testimony and to tell you what I saw. It it gives me shivers to think of what these people. They have no idea. I wish I could get through to them and they could understand. We're not here for the year. This is very, very short compared to where we're going. And it's a separation of the wheat and the chaff here. So you could take advantage of this opportunity to learn, to better yourself, to oh, I have a question. I have a question. I just came back from Vermont. Oh my God, so it's so beautiful. I'll show you. Recent. Yeah. So I'll hold it this way. Beautiful, beautiful up here. Anyway, I was thinking about doing something, even though two bridges were out and being constructed. I was thinking about having putting it on my site and getting a get together and having a because there's a beautiful hotel called the Lodge. It's right on the mountain and the base of it, and I'm sure I could arrange to have rooms, and we could all have a wonderful dining at the Ye Old Tavern, and we could all walk around and see my lunatic dog. My dog gets the zombies when he gets up there. You've ever seen a dog get a zombie, you know what a zombie is, okay? They just or zoo no zoomies. He loses his mind. He just runs and runs and runs and run. He runs like forget about it. Just all out. I'm running, and yeah, it's a lot of fun to see. And but the leaf change up there is just magnificent every year. It's just spectacular. We don't miss it. There's specifically a fair also in the Peru where they have kinds of things, honey and maple syrup and jam and um, all kinds of stuff. So if you guys are interested in that, please let me know in the comments. Um, my Patreon is bomb, the same thing. And if you want to see the videos that they took down, all questionable stuff, they're all on my Odyssey page. Again, all on the Odyssey bomb. And so, at any rate, I will leave you to this weekend. I won't be seeing you for another week. Like I said, I'm going to be traveling. So I don't know when I'll be able to post something because I think that the weather is going to be a very big concern for me on a lot of things. And although if I'm hungover at some airport someplace, I might try to do it. Um, at any rate, God bless. Remember, Jesus is the only way. He died on the cross for your sins and mine. Okay. God bless.